Hello everybody, welcome to Alia.io, a web app designed for contractors to make their life easier and their users' life easier. So, we're gonna start presenting Alia in general. We'll start with the first user, the fleet manager. The fleet manager has a dashboard that will summarize all the projects he's working on, the total equipment that he has, what is allocated, what are the different costs, monthly and yearly, the buy with the allocated in stock and in maintenance equipment, and the split of the equipment, whether they're owned or rented. The fleet manager manages his team members, so um, he can add new uh, team members, and then he has a overview of all the team members he has. Those team members can be project managers. We will see later on what they can do. They can be maintenance managers, procurement managers, and also there are some company manager profile in the web app. Here, the fleet manager enters all his equipment and he sees all his equipment and their status, whether it's allocated in the workshop or in stock. In the finance tab, the fleet manager can see all the internal pricing that the company has set to rent their equipment internally. You can see all the internal invoices and all the maintenance statuses. In this tab, the fleet manager can see the different suppliers dealing with the company, and he can see all the drivers in the company and their categories. For every fleet, the fleet manager can allocate a driver. Now in the project side, the fleet manager would see all the projects and the equipment in the projects for each project allocated to each project. So for example, in this one, we can see all the equipment in this project. What equipment is active, what the equipment is released or in maintenance. Now, the most important part for the fleet manager is to allocate equipment to the projects. Here, the project manager on this part, equipment requests, the fleet manager would look at all the equipment requested for different projects, and then he can allocate them. When he presses on allocate, he'll see what equipment he has internally, and the other equipment he will send them directly to the procurement manager. So this is in a nutshell the fleet manager's view. Now we can go to the project manager. The project manager has a dashboard as well, a finance section with you can see the internal pricing and the invoices. In the project side, he can create a new project with the client. He can request equipment directly, and then he can see the status of the equipment requests, whether it's pending, it's partially fulfilled, or it's fulfilled. To request new equipment, he just needs to press here, put the request date, the beginning and end, what is he looking for, what is the billing period, and what is the quantity. Let's assume he wants VAT, the insurance, the TUV, etc. That way, the request is added. He can add another one as well. Let's suppose you want a dump truck. Let's say this time the quantity is 1. he has the request. Now he can send the request to the fleet manager. So now the request has been sent to the fleet manager. Who would see that the project manager in Kingdom Tower project asked for 2 boom trucks and 1 dump truck. So this is what the project manager does, and the fleet manager would allocate the equipment he has internally. The other, he will send it to the procurement manager. Now, as for the procurement manager, he will receive the requests from the fleet manager if he doesn't have it. Here you can see all the requests. He will choose which equipment he wants to send to suppliers. If there are several suppliers, he will choose to which suppliers to send, and he'll send the request to the suppliers. Once the request is sent, he can monitor, what is sent, if the suppliers responded, and what was booked. Of course, here, like for the fleet manager, he can see his suppliers. And for the projects also, he can see the equipment on the projects. As for the maintenance manager, the maintenance manager would receive the maintenance requests from the project manager, and he can either approve the maintenance or reject it if there is an error, determine if it can be fixed on the project itself or in the workshop, and once approved, it will be approved. Once the equipment is fixed, then he will upload the cost, the work order number, and the work order file and resolve the issue. Finally, the driver has a daily checklist to do from his mobile to inspect the equipment. On a daily level, he needs to check the water level, the engine oil, the batteries, etc., and then inspect the equipment. So this is, in a nutshell, the main flow that is covered by ALIA. Thank you very much.